Hello viewers, hope you have a beautiful quality indulgence. Today's topic is how long students should study at home. How long students should study at home. This brings the home and the school on the table or on the desk where the student is sitting. He is not whiling away his time in scribbling and writing with his mind elsewhere. मेरा दिमाग और कहीं है, मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ and I have to submit my homework and my work is done. Homework is never contained in the notebook. Education is never contained in the textbook. It has to come into the chip of the mind. That is the modern technique. That is the modern result. बच्चों में what education has done to my son or to my daughter. Now, how long students should study at home? Please understand the word study. It is not learning. It is not knowing. To know, to learn, to study. These are three different things. To know. If I know something, I can observe that in front of me. If I know something, I can observe that in front of me. To learn and to study. If I am really learning and if I am really studying, I can go anywhere. It becomes action. Know is in the same position. From the same position, I see the screen. I know how to work on a computer. I know how to work. That is know. I know how to work on a computer, so from the same place I see the computer. Then I learn and I study. I take the computer's characteristics in me and I move out. I am in action. So, to know, to learn, to study are three different dimensions. To know, if I know something, I can see that in front of me. But if I am learning and if I am studying, I can carry it in my action. I can carry it in my action. So, these are the three things: to know, to learn, to study. Now, bring the student back home, and how long should a student study in his home? In this context, before I just sum up the sentence, how long should a student study, I just want to clear certain, traditional pattern of teaching. When a teaching is going on in the class, that is the listening and communication. When the teaching is going on in the class on the basis of listening skill, and when it is over, and when it comes to writing, the writing work is only that much of what is taught by the teacher, not what the textbook has in its supplementary exercises. That is not a notebook work. Once more, when the teaching is going on in the class, teaching on the basis of listening and speaking and communication. On that basis, the teacher evaluates the student to what level has he come to know, to learn, to study. So, these are three dimensions because there are average, below average and above average students sitting in the classroom, and they may remain in the same flow provided they do not take that pulse and work the gymnastics of the mind with themselves. So, to know, to learn and study, this is evaluated by the teacher when he is communicating with the students. Text is only a reference. After that, when it comes to writing work, the writing work is not the exercise. The textbook is not evaluating. The evaluator is the teacher. So, when it comes to writing work, the teacher will only test or give the work to the students till the level he has communicated with them and is confident. The teacher is confident that this much I expect from the students who are below average, on the average or above average. Below average will give the text based understanding, and average and above average will give higher order thinking skill based understanding and expressions, which they will find, which they will take to the society and find it really it is marketing. Education is marketing. So, this is teaching. Now, come to the homework, where when the student is in home, how long should he study in the home? Now, see the time duration coming over here. Time is always in the flow. So, when the time is in the flow, there has to be a motion. The student has to come into action. He cannot come in a rigid position and he says, all my study and all my learning has come to one capsule, one chip, that is to know. Because time is in the flow, so he has to match the flow of the time. So, how long? That much long period, the student, not child, that much long period, the student should be studying in home, which will make him feel confident, not confident, feel confident that when I interact with the teacher, I can surely, reciprocate. Maybe 5 days back, when I'm speaking from the point of view of the student. 5 days back, when the teacher asked me, I need to think for 3 minutes. But now, maybe tomorrow or yesterday, when the teacher asked me in the class, I was prompt. So this self peacefulness, this self gentleness, this self aristocracy of mental gymnastics should be there with the student. Then comes a time period. This is not a rigid time period like the English medium schools character we are still following in Indian public schools, that 2:30 to 7:30 or 2:30 to 5:30 is the period to study. It doesn't happen, because when flow cannot be measured in a starting and ending. It's a science. Time cannot be measured that it started and it ended, because time is always flowing. So this looks very comic from the perspective of highly intelligent human beings in their healthy period of below 18. How is this the treatment coming from the people who are nurturing me? So time doesn't have an end, time doesn't have a start. It is always beyond the capital letters and full stops. It is always in the flow. So how long should a student study at home? That much long the student should be studying at home, which will make him feel confident that when there is a communication and interaction with the teacher on a different subject, I can very well use my skill, the text, and sort of a joyous indulgence as if that is real. Because the more I learn, the more I study, the knowing factor will be less, because the know will come automatically, like breathing, hearing, listening, combing. It comes automatically to my gestures, moving my hand. It's automatic. So when the knowing becomes automatic, I am in the category of learning and studying. And learning and studying is the parallel with time when I am in motion. So that much long a student should be studying at home, be it through written or be it through thinking. Even thinking is also studying, listening is also studying, speaking is also studying. So there is nothing like a recorded piece that corroborates that he has really studied. So he can even think on his own desk and chair. So when the student is at home, this should be the basic reference. When the teacher is interacting with me in the class, how I interact, how I am interacting, because after what I have interacted on, chapter 1 is what I have interacted on chapter 1, I have interacted on chapter 5, but next is how I am, how means it melts the text into his flow of learning and studying, not in the flow of knowledge. What I am speaking right now on the screen is my communication skill. It's not the rigid text that I am communicating. It's a sense of healthiness, how less I require a medicine. Because when the less I require the medicine, the more metabolism I have in my blood. It is automatic. Breathing doesn't require my effort. Seeing doesn't require my effort. So when I become effortless, then on what I am focusing. For a student, he is focusing on remembering how I am a sort of a self-analysis. How did I interact with the teacher? When the teacher is asking, when the teacher is communicating, what I am saying, and after that, how I am saying, and the next, how I feel when I speak. And that gives a sense, sort of a sense of a different set of sense that is called confidence, or a different sort of a personality that is not born as my biological birth. So this is a different analysis. So this is the small video over here. How long student should study at home? Keeping this as a reference, his classroom interaction as a reference, he should be studying at home. He may require 2 minutes, he may require 7 minutes. If he is thinking, naturally the time duration required is less, but if he has to write and then come to bring the written script to the mind and work on the communication skill, bring the writing into spoken skill again and again, and then try to feel, naturally the time period will be required is more. So that there is no fixed, when it comes to time, when I serve time to somebody, there is nothing like fixed. Time is a very superior sort of a greeting with which I greet somebody. It can be 1 minute, it can be 10 minutes, or it can be 1 hour, because time is money, time is value, and time is health. Thank you so much. Hello viewers, wish you all a very quality indulgence. I welcome you. My name is Chitradeep Chakravarti. I welcome you to a session of appreciation of poetry. Before going into appreciation of poetry, let's have a poetry text in front of us. I'll read the poem for you or else if you have the text, you may apply your reading skill.